Jason, we met on the Atheist Community of Discord
Yeah.
some time ago. And I
Okay,
think
yeah.
you've called into SecX once or twice anyway.
Couple times, yeah.
A couple times, yeah. So I got the impression, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is you're somebody who's sort of relatively recently started to explore your own sexuality a little bit.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, and I say relatively recently, but also kind of forever. It's been one of those things that excuse me, I realized about myself. I say probably right around sixth grade that I wasn't like every other dude, and I kind of like the company of dudes and chicks as much as the same. And I'd always find myself like becoming really close with like a guy friend, but only wanting that guy friend. And then I'd be really close to a girl and only wanting like that girlfriend as well. And you start people, hey, bro, you kind of gay, bro. You grow. I'm like, no, of course not. No way. And then growing up in the scene and the scene that I grew up in and here in Texas, and you just kind of learn to suppress those things and push those things down for fear of being ostracized. And I was a sweet kid, but then, I ended up kind of building this shell around myself for a long time and picked up cage fighting and been doing that for the past 15, 16 years. And, kind of always had these like weird male relationships. I mean, I've always, loved females too, and everybody, but always had these weird male relationships, like persisting, like as I was an adult, young adult, would become real close with one dude, and then it would just get weird, and then I'd be close to another friend, and it would get weird, and it's like, what? Why is it always got to be so fucking weird like this? And then and then you have those things where it's like, I'm sitting here, I've been drinking with a buddy of mine, and I look over, I'm like, maybe I should kiss this guy. I'm like, no, I'm just fucked up. Whatever. That's crazy. No, what? No, and I'd have to say maybe 2.5 years ago, give or take, I really started having a lot of dreams about things, and kind of let my porn search, like I brought up the male, female thing. It's like, I remember I was watching this one porn, and yeah, I like group stuff. It's fun. Always enjoyed it, whenever I was single, and I was watching some of it, and then like these two guys are going at this one chick, and then like this dude kind of goes around and now starts going after the guy, and I'm like, normally I'd be like, no, I need to change that, and I'm like, no, I think I'm going to stay here for a minute, and then I'm like, okay, what the fuck, and then you start dealing the shame thing, all that stuff. But I had to start being real honest with myself that like something, my body responded to that, my mind responded to that, and it kind of always has. So I'd say I really haven't been too open about it. One of my best friends, Natalie, she started visibly transitioning, and she said I could use her name. So visibly transitioning about just under 3 years ago, I think. So I opened up to her about it, and she had lost a lot of friends. Her family had, it was just, the whole thing was shitty, and she's one of the bravest people I've ever met. And, I was open to her. It was like the first person I told. I go, hey, I'm really proud of you for doing this. And this is what I'm going through. You shared this with me. I'm going to share this with you. And ever since,
you had somebody to talk to.
Oh my God, this is fucking the best. That's literally like the person I wish I was like, and then I was real open with my now current partner. And that's been interesting. And I just recently told another close friend of mine, and I've made hints, towards people and things like this. It's just, I don't know. It's been a really interesting ride. And like, I'm reading, what's that book, The Velvet Rage? Like, I'm not gay, I'm definitely, I'm bi, but it's still, there's a real shared similar experience, because you're not experiencing like a heteronormative experience, especially here in Texas and yada, yada. So like, I guess currently I've been really just trying to be more vocal about it, because I feel like, if my friend can visibly transition and do those things, I feel like I can be brave enough to do this, I can just step up, and just start to really own who I am, and deal with whatever will come across. Cause I really think that being your genuine self, for me at least, is the most important thing in my life. And cause how else am I going to affect everybody positively without being my genuine self? So, you approached me about coming on here, and well, Kelly Laughlin, and then you fucking planned this shit. and
Oh yeah, we snared you good, buddy.
motherfuckers, and it's I love y'all both, and it's and it's good because it's a challenge. I had the same. I was telling Helen, I was bitching to her the past 2 days. Like I have like the same feeling I have in my stomach that I had walking out to my first cage fight. I remember looking over to my buddy Lee, who was cornering me, and I go, "Holy shit, Lee, this is happening." He goes, "Yeah, it's happening." I'm like, "Oh, all right, let's go," and it's but it's I guess it's important to jump out of that airplane, right? And to just step out and say, "Fuck it," see what happens, right?
You got
Just
to
another
jump in the pool.
just
No
another
toe
ally.
Oh
tippers
yeah.
here.
So, no. So yeah, that's it. That's my
Absolutely.
long ramble. And luckily I have a partner who supports me, and she's the shit, and I fucking love her to death. So
Awesome. Well, we will get more into that as we go on. But Helen, you also relatively recently started living your best life yourself with your
Yes.
partner. Yes. So tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, so me and my husband have been in a pretty heteronormative relationship like after we got married. Like I've been bi, but we were like monogamous. Like we had a couple of like light sexual encounters with other people. And then as of I would say last September or October, we were going to try swinging. And then all of a sudden we met this really wonderful couple, and now we're poly in a quad quadruple. I don't know. Quadruple. I don't know what the fucking
Quadruple?
word is. Quadruple, whatever it is. It's 4
A
people.
quadruple?
Yeah, sure. So, and it's very interesting because I definitely had like, a whole bunch of different sexual experiences in my life and stuff like that. But the fact that we are in this like committed poly relationship, and with another couple that didn't think they were in the same boat, we're going to try swinging, and they met us and everything kind of just clicked. It's been interesting in a way because I going through this journey, especially, I'm 45 now, and like discovering new things about myself and about my sexuality even in my old age has been really interesting for me, because like I knew I was bi at like 15 years old, but 30 years later, now discovering other aspects of our relationship and other aspects of each other has been really mind opening in a lot of ways, because you think
Sure.
that like, okay, I'm bi, and I'm going to be in this type of relationship, and blah blah blah, and then life starts to change, and you were like, I want to have new experiences, I want to do
yeah,
different
yeah,
things. And
yeah.
yeah, it's still something we're learning how to navigate and how to communicate and how to work within that system, because this is still very new.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's a learning curve like anything else, but we are enjoying it, and we're discovering a lot of things about ourselves, and with this other couple, and they're discovering things about themselves. So I think that's been very positive on both ends.
Isn't the 21st century great?
Yes,
We can just we
Oh,
can
it's
just
getting
live
there.
our best lives, right? Yeah,
right.
well, it's getting there. I mean,
It's getting there.
United
Yeah.
States United States has taken a couple steps back recently, but we still believe in you.
That's right. I'm of Todd, by the way. Like, I mean, if we're living the Handmaid's hat, I'm of Todd. I don't have any Todd in me anymore.
So, Jason, were you with your current partner when you started to explore this?
I was open with her when we first started seeing each other. I told her this is something that I've been dealing with. I believe in transparency, and I can't really help but be uh, a word vomit master. I don't know the best way to put it, but it's like, this is me. This is what I'm going through. I'm having a hard time working through some shit. Um, is this something you're interested in? If not, that's cool. If you're not interested in it, then I can work with that, and we can just be buddies, I guess. And she's amazing, and luckily she's a clinical therapist, and she does DBT and works with gender affirming care, and is just a really good at family therapy. So for her, of course, it's she had to combat some of her own biases and prejudices and things you don't realize that you have when until you start dealing with something. But this
Sure.
is easily the most supportive person I've had in my life, uh, and I'm just so appreciative that we have what we have, and she's willing to work with me through this. So
Wow.
yeah,
Well, that is awesome.
yeah.
And Helen, I don't think I need to ask you because I know your partner a little bit and he seems pretty great, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
y'all
I
are.
married well. I chose one well.
Yes, yes, yes. I think you did, but
No, your
I
partner's
think that
awesome too. You know I love Jason.
yes, yes. My partner is great. He's also wonderful. So, what I'm just curious, what are some challenges that y'all have experienced being on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, but not necessarily presenting as such? Like, example for me, like back when I was dating, I had a hard time with that sort of like that initial flirt kind of thing
Okay.
because I was like the stealth bomber of gaydar because nobody ever thought I was gay. Like, on our second date, my partner reminded me of this the other day when I was constructing the show notes. He's like, "Do you remember on our second date?" And I was like, "Are you sure that? Are you sure you're into guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can prove it to you. I'm just trying to be a gentleman here. Like,
Just trying to be cool, bro. I mean, come on.
yeah, I'm just trying to take my time. Get in there and build. Have you guys had any similar experiences? I'm sure Jason, you can weigh in on that because
You
Yeah, I
know,
want to
d-
hear from
Mister
Jason
Mister
first because I
Mister
do have.
Cage Fighter here.
you know,
Yeah.
dude. So
Yeah.
I told a friend about this, and it's really interesting because I was really nervous about it. But this friend had made a couple mentions about things because I've been leaving out little pieces of bait lately with people,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and yeah, I'm sure you know the deal.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of like and it's funny because I'm like 6 foot, 210 pounds. I've been cage fighting and doing jujitsu like 15. Like I have nothing really to worry about. I'm a white dude in the state of Texas. I'm cis. I've got all these social things that already work in my favor, and it sucks that it has to be that way. So, but it's still at the same time like I don't like you. Whenever you okay, so you introduce this as the Musket Queers, and I'm like, oh, really? I'm queer? Okay. And I'm just like starting to wrap my head around this whole thing. And it's like, but okay, like, all right. Okay. Okay. And it's weird because like I've been having these dreams about just like, hey bro, this is what I'm into. And it's funny because okay, so I'm sorry, I digress. So I was telling one of my buddies these things. I'm sorry. It's just a lot
No,
going on
you're
right
good,
now.
man. You're good. This is
And
this is what people want to hear. They want to hear your
Mhm.
experience.
me
Yeah.
fucking ramble. And so I tell one of my bros, and he's like, yeah, I kind of knew, and I said, hey, because I was like, hey, dude, appreciate the comment, the kind of you were kind of fucking with me the other day about things, and I appreciate that, and I knew what you were doing, and it's like, man, I didn't mean anything bad by it. I was just trying to get you to talk a little bit. I'm like, dude, I totally appreciate it, and it's really interesting because like you get so fucking nervous, but then someone's like, okay, cool, yeah, that's yeah, why not? That's good for you. I'm happy for you. Is and then people of course hold the confidence, and it becomes kind of addicting to like, okay, that was somebody else. All right, I told that person. All right, well maybe now I'll post it on Facebook and say it on secular sexuality. It's like, okay, cool. Challenge accepted, right? So, but I think it's important, man, because me being in a privileged status, me being a big white guy, drives big truck, works oil field job, fighter guy, cauliflower ear. I'm I can like fill another void that's needed, like somebody who's open at work. Somebody who doesn't expect it. They don't expect me to be like, hey, you want to see what I've been watching on porn, bro? You're showing me this shit. Hey, you want to see this? And to start making that a normal thing to do because I can do that, right? And it's it's to me it's just so brave that somebody who visibly transitions, they're so fucking brave. I mean, what's keeping me back? I mean, no shame for
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't, and I know I shouldn't feel any shame for myself, but I've started feeling this like responsibility to like I just need to do it, and this is kind of my way of doing it, I guess.
I am in the exact same boat as somebody who could easily fly under the radar, and
Well,
we
yeah.
talked about this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I work in construction, and I choose to wear a hot pink hard hat, and I choose to own that, and I choose to be out and open. And whoever doesn't like it, well, you can go pound salt.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I kind of feel that same responsibility to sort of carry the flag and make it normal for folks to be on the spectrum, and have hobbies or professions that don't necessarily jive with people's expectations.
Yeah.
Like, it's the 21st century. It's 2022. It's time to let that shit die.
Yeah, it really is. I agree. And I'm not afraid of anything. So, I mean, why am I going to be afraid of this? It's like, okay, if I feel that feeling, that pit of my gut fear feeling, okay, that means I need to push forward now. Okay, so I'm feeling fear. Okay, good. That means that I'm aware of what's going on. Cool. Now I'm going to fight. So it's I started noticing that feeling, and that, like, I couldn't get it out of my mind. I'm having dreams about this shit. I'm accidentally dropping bombs. So fine, fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Why not?
Just do it.
Fuck it. So,
Yeah.
and it's weird, but it's sitting now. It's like identity. It's like, okay, queer. Bi.
I mean, you can
Words.
choose to apply that
Yeah.
label to yourself, or you
Yeah.
can choose just to stick with bi. You can choose whatever you want. If you don't like queer, I kind of like queer. I've
Well, I
it's
like it
kind of
too.
grown on me over the last couple of years.
Me
but-
too. Mm.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's like, even no matter, it could be that could be the sound we make that denotes that thing. But it's like, okay, that's a thing. It's a thing, and it's a real thing. It's an enduring psychological construct that's not going to change. It may evolve and move and shift, but it's there. And it's not going anywhere else. Ever since I've been taking these psychology classes, it's just kind of had to be honest with myself, and I've, okay.
Do you
cool.
think the psychology classes like encouraged you to be a little more honest with yourself, or was that happening earlier? Or
I was already,
Was it just
I've always fought with trying to be honest with myself, and I really thought I was. And I, to an extent, I was as honest with myself as I could have been. You can't do anything other
Sure.
than what you're doing, right? But so that's always been my attempt, is to be skeptical and honest with myself. So when that came up and I had to confront that, of course, I have to skeptically evaluate myself and my actions and my feelings. And this is and of course, I'm almost finished with this Bachelor of Science in Psychology this fall. And of course, I'm studying social psychology, gender psychology, developmental neuroscience, and I'm learning. So of course, it played into it. And then I see the shared experiences, and then I'm on ACD doing that Brain Matters show every week, where we talk about experiences, like psychological stuff and different people's social psychology experiences and yada yada. And I just couldn't help but listen to the evidence, pay attention to myself, compare it, and admit, okay, this is the case, and I need to act as such, because the healthiest, especially for queer people, you need to have people around you that support you. You have to have a circle that supports you. It's so unhealthy if you don't, like, so fucking unhealthy, especially for adolescents. So I realized I needed to be open with people, so that way I could A, support people, and B, get the support I need. So you run the risk of ostracization, but they can just go fucking fuck themselves, as far as I'm concerned. So I didn't need them anyways.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah,
Folks, we are going to
sure.
get to some calls. Apparently, this is a call-in show, but we still do have some open lines. We've got a couple folks waiting, but if this story is resonating with you, and I'm sure it is with many of our audience members, give us a call with your stories. Share with us. You can call us at 512-991-9242, or on the internet at tiny.cc/callsex. Doesn't cost a thing. Free to call, and you can talk with these three muskequeers. I'm gonna own that. Yeah, it was actually my
Muskequeers,
kid
I
who
love
came
it.
up with that.
It was so funny.
It was my daughter came up with that, because
Oh,
I was
yeah?
like, oh, I'm looking for a snappy opening, and she's like, how about muskequeers? And I'm like,
I love it.
that's
I love it.
good. That is
That is
going in
really
the
good.
show.
Good to your daughter. I toast her.
Yes.
For sure.
Cheers to her. Yes, I would claim responsibility for it, but then I wouldn't be being honest with myself. And since we're on that roll here, I think we'll keep it going.
You're half responsible. You're
Yeah.
half.
Well,
So,
that's true. That's true. I am half responsible. That's true.
so
Okay, so question for both of you then.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's also wrestling with their own urges and perhaps feeling stymied by that sort of social pressure or that internal shame? What helped you to get over that, Jason and Helen?
Helen, you want to go with that one?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I just talked a lot. So.
That's okay. Um, well, I think what really helped me was having people around me that were
Mhm.
also queer or questioning or in this kind of in the same boat that I was. Because when you're kind of going, I especially I remember being like 13, 14, 15 years old where your hormones are going fucking crazy and you're just like, I really want to kiss this girl. And I also want to kiss that guy. Is that okay? And trying to figure that stuff out. And once I actually had friends that were queer, it made things a little bit easier. And you kind of, and it's time, and I'm not saying that like, at 15 years old, when I finally had sex with a girl, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm free. Yay, I'm out. Like it took a long time to really get used to being in your own skin because it is a journey. And like I would love if every single person, no matter where they landed on like sexuality or gender, like they were like, this is how I want to be, and like they just decided and everything was fine, like straight people get to do. It'd be really great. But because of the messages that were taught, it feels that it's abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if you have all the positive messaging around you that this is okay,
Yeah.
because of what society is telling us, it is still a process to kind of deal with. But if you have, like as we were saying, if you have someone there that's saying like you are perfect just the way you are, you're a
Yeah.
good person just because whatever you're attracted to or whatever gender you want to be, whatever the fuck it is, as long as you're happy and you're being your authentic self, I'm going to love you no matter what. I think that message is the most important message, to be accepted for who you are, because
Yeah.
that's what takes the longest for us to kind of get used to being comfortable. and
Mhm.
and also like real and getting and also teaching yourself that it's okay, like if you're attracted to someone, you're attracted to someone. It's okay. Like you don't have to sit there and try and do all these fucking mental gymnastics and stuff like that and try to like talk yourself out of it. Like, oh, as Jason was saying, like, oh, I'm drunk, or I'm stoned,
Oh,
or
yeah. Yeah.
I'm having a
Yeah.
emotionally vulnerable moment. I'm just horny, or whatever the fuck you tell
No,
yourself.
I'm
It
just
just
I'm just playing. No, I'm
I'm
just
just
playing.
playing.
No, you're
Yeah.
not. No, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's like, and even if it's only momentarily, like sexuality is a very complicated thing, and it is not it's now 100% one way or the other, and that's why we have the rainbow. That's why it's a
Mhm.
spectrum. That's why we're
Mhm.
trying to just be like, whatever you're attracted to is fine, it's okay, and getting used to that, with that within yourself, is the most important thing, and just getting comfortable with those feelings. That's the
I
most important thing.
I agree. I couldn't have said it better. I was going to say, people, that's what's made it the easiest and the best. I mean, we're being social creatures. We kind of judge ourselves off of the way, I say kind of, we judge ourselves off the way the people close to us treat us. And that's how we know
Sure.
ourselves. So if I have to be genuine to somebody for me to really know how they respond to me and then they're genuine. And, we have to go through that dance in order to figure those things out. And if you don't have anybody that's even willingly go through that dance with you, I mean, it's just, you have such a hard time. And I mean, you see so many studies and you hear so many anecdotes about how, I mean, fuck it. The kids, you see suicidality go up 800% in adolescents from the ages of 13 to 17, whenever they don't have a family that doesn't support them. I mean, and
Yeah.
self harm and just
Mhm.
it's just so terrible. So having Emily in my life, having Natalie in my life, having my friends that I've told, and especially folks like Helen and everybody over at the ACD and some other friends that I talk with, and it's just, that's been fucking huge. I mean, so huge,
Sure.
because it feels like this. I mean, fuck, I'll be 41 here pretty soon, and for me to be just confronting this now, is a big thing. But I mean, even my daughter, my daughter, was talking to her. She don't care. What does she care? She's like, yeah,
Yeah, you
whatever.
got
You,
lots of
you
time
think somebody's
left.
hot? You think somebody's cute? Okay, cool. That's normal, right, Dad? No, yeah, it's normal. So I don't know. I'm just trying to. I tell anybody else, it's like it's okay. It's always been okay for everybody else except for me. It's like, yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
great. Of course. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, fuck you want to fuck, whatever's great. It's awesome. Fuck everybody. But me, I don't know, but I'm learning that I'm also a person too, I'm also mortal.
for sure.
So
So it sounds like finding community is a common thread that we're finding here.
huge.
And folks, if you happen to find yourself without one, the ACD is there with wonderful folks like Jason to chat with, and Kelly, who was part of entrapping him into being on the show,
Son
and
of a bitch.
Helen, and all sorts of cool folks on there.